morning from our political analyst, Michael Yaki, on what that means for the election. So let's just start there. This coming out this morning. What does this potentially mean for the upcoming election?
Well, let's be really clear about what it is she said. She didn't say Biden should drop out. What she wanted is sort of a reset of the discussion because, as you know, there was a lot of discussion right after the debate that he should drop out. Then the momentum sort of shifted and he dug himself in. And there's a lot of pressure to put people in line. And what she's doing, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it. She's digging a firewall to say, hey, wait a minute. We really do need to discuss this. We really do need to think about what this means. And in particular, the president needs to think about it. But what she's really saying is that the party and the president need to think about what's best for the country and best for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I'm looking at the exact quote where she said, quote, "It's up to the president to decide if he's going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short." But we've heard the president already come out to say he is running. He's in this thing to win it. So what does that mean that top Democrats, including Pelosi, still see this as an open question that hasn't been answered yet?
Well, let's think about the significance of this. This is the former House Speaker, one of the most formidable, if not the most formidable speaker in American history. She basically led the opposition to Donald Trump. She knows the enemy, so to speak, from the Democratic point of view. She knows what it's going to take to beat him. She knows what it's like to deal with him when he's in office. And I think that what she's expressing is a desire, a real desire for a reasoned discussion, not just sort of push Joe. I mean, if you push anyone to say, I want you to quit, they're going to say no. But she wants a pause. She wants a timeout. She's essentially, without saying it, first of all, she didn't say that we want Joe Biden to stay in the race. She says she wants Joe Biden to have time to think about the decision. And that's essentially code word for, hey, we know that people came out hard against you. There's been a lot of nasty things said, but we really need to think about what is the best right now, especially with the latest polls that are coming out showing that the swing states are starting to move toward Donald Trump because of Biden's disastrous debate performance.
I mean, we only have a few months here until people are going to be casting their ballots. If there was another candidate that was going to step up in any capacity, do they even have a chance, or is Biden really the best bet?
Well, first of all, it's obvious that Kamala Harris would be the odds-on person to take that. She's been the vice president. That's the role of the vice president. Not exactly in a candidate's race, but actually even in a race, if the person were to drop out, that person would move up into the top position. So I think that the issue is really what I don't think as much of an issue of taking over the campaign apparatus with only 4 months to go. But I do think that decision has to be made quickly, and there can't be any regret 2 months away and another disastrous debate performance where this all becomes a question of why didn't we do it sooner? She is essentially trying to make sure that people understand what the stakes are, that this can't just sort of be a pile on one way or the other. People need to think about this. And in particular, the president of the United States, Joe Biden, needs to think about it. And I know that she respects him. I know that she has been a bit strong supporter of him. But the fact that she is calling for a pause, I think is going to make a lot of other Democrats pause as well.
I'm struck by the last bit of that quote of hers that I read a moment ago where she's encouraging him, she says, to make that decision because time is running short. What kind of time are we talking about? Like, how could this possibly play out? We got the convention right around the corner. When would he have to make that decision?
It would have to be before the convention. It would have to be enough before the convention that a decision could be arrived at as to who should be the nominee.
Are you thinking like by the end of the week?
I think it'd have to be at least probably by the end of next week at the latest, 2 or 3 weeks before the convention, in order for people to sort of get their hands around this. Now, again, I think Kamala would be the odds-on favorite, but if there were an open floor convention, first of all, there'd be a lot of eyes on this. There'd be a lot of excitement. But I do think that a lot of the Sturm und Drang about, well, we can't possibly put a campaign apparatus together that fast, is really not realistic. Not in today's in the way the internet works, how fundraising works. You know, if you were having to knock and wait for the checks to come in the mail, that's one thing. But money can be raised instantly. TV ads can be cut instantly. The apparatus in the Democratic parties in each state is still there. I think that more than anything, what unites the Democratic Party is a desire to ensure that Donald Trump does not become president again, and that will be motivation enough to solidify behind someone else if President Biden were to reconsider and drop out of the race.
You know, you talk about fundraising, you know, a lot of donors, they're kind of the ones that pull the levers behind the scenes. We've already seen people like George Clooney encouraging the president to drop out, who we know is at the NATO conference right now. So his schedule's sort of full up. We can't really hear from him, although there is a press conference, I guess, coming up shortly. Maybe he'll address some of it there.
Well, I hate to say this, but the timing of all of this and that press conference, I think, is important for how I think this issue is going to be addressed, how he responds to the fact that the former House Speaker, the person who led the opposition to Donald Trump, someone who is recognized as both a progressive and someone who would unify the party, is saying that, you know, he needs to rethink this. And he may, I'm sure he's going to say, I'm not going to, I've already said my piece, and et cetera. But how he does it, how he answers that, everything like that, the world's eyes, and certainly the eyes of every person in the Democratic Party and the country, quite frankly, are going to be on him to see how he responds, how he interacts with the press coming up. And it may be unfair, it may be harsh, but politics is not, you know, a game for the weekend. And one thing that was drummed into me through all my years of service with the speaker was that no one is indispensable. No one.